An opinion is an opinion. It doesn't mean it's right. We have clients that come to us who maybe they had a divorce or had a problem with COVID, or maybe their company had something that happened where they lost a contract. That should not basically put any sort of effect on you on who you are as a person. You shouldn't take one no and not let it navigate to the next yes. And
Welcome back to another episode of The Burn. I am Ben Newman, and you know exactly how we do this every single week. We're going to bring you a story of an athlete, a celebrity, an entertainer, somebody from the business world, somebody performing at their highest possible level who has recognized that why and purpose is not enough. There's this underlying burn that actually ignites your why and purpose and causes you to show up to do what you say you're going to do with great discipline on the days that you don't want to do it, and especially after you win. Today is a special opportunity because it's only so often we get other Spartan dogs on the show together. And Kortney Murray and I, both Michigan State Spartans through and through, we bleed green. It's one of the reasons why we connected, why our friendship has been so easy, why the trust in our business relationship has been so easy, is because there's a mentality that Spartans show up with. Spartans always say, Spartans will. And one thing that you will find out about Spartans, when they attack opportunity in life, they do it one way, and they do it with a full head of steam and passion and conviction. And as you hear Kortney's story today, you are going to hear all of those things. It's that passion, conviction, and fire inside of her that has led her to becoming a 3-time best-selling author. The AAFCB has her as one of their board members, where she just spoke to the entire group, lighting up the stage in Orlando for their national event. She's a sought-after speaker. You'll see her on TV shows, educating individuals on how they can overcome the challenges of the financial part of your life. And her husband, Chris, tackle with Coastal Capital all the different essences and nuances of business and the financial side. And so what we're going to do today is something a little bit different. You are going to love Kortney. You're going to love her passion. You're going to love her energy. You're going to love her fire. But I'm going to ask her to be direct about ways that she can help you. Because we're currently living in a world right now where people are scared, and there's fears, there's doubts, there's uncertainties, there's a wild roller coaster of the financial world. And she spends every day helping individuals who feel like they might be lost financially understand a clear path to have success moving forward. So she's probably going to give you a little advice. Grab your pen and paper, get ready to not only be inspired, but to learn with my friend and fellow Spartan, Kortney Murray. Welcome to The Burn.
hey, Ben, thank you so much again for having me. And I have to always start with go green.
Go white.
I love being a Spartan dog. This is a really great opportunity to help anyone out there in the entrepreneurship world, anyone who's looking to get into a business or who has started a business, even anyone who has had mishaps on their credit or ability to grow because of hiccups that happened in the past. So that's what I'm really passionate and good at. And I would love to, talk about it a bit today.
Well, one of the things before we get there, I love your transparency, your passion, your willingness to always share your story, which is how you got into the financial side of allowing people who have had hardships to create their best opportunities. And the people with thriving businesses realize what the next level of their success looks like. But how did this all start for you? Tell us your story. Tell us the passion of how this all got started.
Sure. So I love to call my story Chaos to Capital. And I always named it that because when I was a little girl, I always had a passion of becoming a clothing store owner. I always loved fashion. As young as 7th grade, when I signed up for shop class, because I thought it was learning how to shop, I had no idea it was woodworking. This is a true story. And so I had my mom laughing in the parking lot of the mall. She said, "What elective did you sign up for?" I said, "Shop." I don't have any credit cards. Well, no, I was very wrong. So, it really started with a passion of a young girl, which was me at a young age. And I was, I was put together but messy. In my 20s, I wanted to start a business. And so I started off in sales. I started off selling cars, selling heavy equipment. I sold advertising. I did anything I could to make a dollar. I knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur. And so I think I was just 20 years old in California. I moved out to California and I was selling mortgage. I was in the subprime market and I was doing, my calls. I walked, kind of door to door to different broker offices and there was a clothing store for sale. And I walked in and the woman was 9 months pregnant and she wanted to get out of there. It was midsummer, it was hot. And I said, I'll buy the store. And of course, I, had a couple dimes to rub together at the time, but I knew I had passion. I knew I had ambition. And I knew I was going to make this work. But I had no idea where to buy clothing. And I had no idea how to merchandise a store. I didn't even know where to buy a mannequin. So I purchased the store from her with every dollar I had. And I always learned from my parents, cash is king. And so if you don't have the cash, what are you going to do? How are you going to move forward? And so at that time, I literally went into this operation and I started shopping at TJ Maxx and marking things up, calling it one of a kind, until I could figure out where I'm going to go shop. And so, long story short, is the clothing store lasted 3 years, and it probably would have lasted a bit longer if I had understood the capabilities of not using my own money, not commingling my personal credit. One thing that happened is in California, I know everybody here is probably aware of the wildfires. So I lived in Carlsbad. I had a place right close to the beach on the Coast Highway, and there was some really massive fires this year. And they had smoke that had come so far down you couldn't even see. You thought you would have to walk into the water. Well, the smoke came under the door and it ruined all the clothing in the store. And I did not have insurance. I was young. I was very young, and I didn't insure the place. I didn't have any additional cash to re-merchandise the place. I ended up going derogatory on everything from my trade lines that I had ability to pay over time with my vendors, all the way to not being able to pay my credit card bills. I had to close the store. And at that time, I now have ruined my credit, which was barely established in your 20s. Banks don't lend to you in the 20s, in your 20s. So you use the capital that you have. And so at that time, I literally gave up my hope and dream of being this entrepreneur. And I knew I could always focus back in sales. Well, when I ended up finding the ability to help others in equipment finance and different type of alternative lending world, I realized that business credit was never taught to me. Business credit was never a thing that I had known from a hole in the wall. And so if I had learned to not commingle my personal and business credit and started building the business credit, I could have started creating wealth without utilizing all of the cash that I had. Why would you ever pay for an employee before they start working for you, right? Why would you pay cash for something before it starts generating income? We want to look at ROI. And so that's where my passion really started, in wanting to help any entrepreneur never feel that burn that I felt, because at that time I felt failure and I had to climb out of this deep hole and get where I am today. And it really came from just digging and understanding from experience.
See, so what I love there, if everybody captured it, you used the burn in a different context. It was a burn in the pocket. It was burning up the opportunity to grow. But what I just heard you say was it actually created a burn in you to say, I'm not going back there. I'm not going to let that happen to me again. And so it's interesting, and it's a beautiful part of your story because people now look to you, and you're often referred to as a trailblazer. You're referred to as a disruptor. And when I realized those things about you, it's one of the reasons why I said, okay, you have to be in Vegas as one of our main keynotes. We bring in some of the top business minds, athletes, individuals that attend our boot camps from around the world who need this education, need this help. And some of them have been wildly successful, but they're in that deep, dark place where they feel like maybe they can't get ahead. So what are some of those strategic things that you've done to not go back there for yourself personally, but to become this trailblazer and disruptor in an industry where, as you've shared with me in the past, like it's always kind of been the same algorithm since the 1950s. So how do you do it differently to really take care of people?
So that's a great question. And I love it because this industry that I'm in, we have been able to really create with our awareness kind of a different credit algorithm. So not only do we have all sorts of different lending partners, but we also have our own lending box that we will take a look at a full story of a deal. So when it came to me and my failure, my credit score went way down in the dumps. And there's no one who would have lent to me. A traditional type of lending, right? Well, we have clients that come to us who maybe they had a divorce or had a problem with COVID, or maybe their company had something that happened where they lost a contract. That shouldn't that should not show you that should not basically put any sort of effect on you on who you are as a person. You shouldn't take one no and not let it navigate to the next yes. And so one of the things we deal with every day with our clients, from startup businesses on, even multi-million dollar businesses who have used cash and they've hit a cap, now they need to borrow money, they still have not built business credit. And so one of the things we try to do is we create the story. Let's say that there is somebody who has a 500 credit score and they have great access to contracts and they're really a great entrepreneur, but they had something affect them in the past. We always walk them through how to put together the application and tell them what we're looking for. So we always look for some sort of stability in the file. So maybe that they have money coming in, maybe they have some sort of collateral coming in. We want to put together a story to make sense. So we do not say no like a bank says no. We have different avenues such as just becoming an advocate and helping them get to the next level if they don't qualify now. We want to walk them through how to get there. We want to show them what type of financing might be an arm that works for them, such as a bridge loan, a line of credit, an SBA, maybe a collateralized loan. Maybe they have a second home that they have some equity in. That might structure better to grow their business instead of using their personal credit. And so really we just work with every entrepreneur, not like a number, like a true partnership. We are building partnerships for the future. And so that's really where we start at my company.
One of the things that I love is just when I hear you talk about the different approach that you take, it's looking at every situation differently. And there's a lot of complexities to the financial world, but it seems like you try to simplify it to make it easy to say, here's your financial picture, and here's how we can make it more clear, and here's how we can actually leverage your capital. I always, when I was a financial advisor, and sometimes our listeners forget, and I always say this humbly, I was in the top 1% of financial advisors in the world. People thought I was crazy when I went into coaching and speaking, and it wasn't because I was failing in the business. It was just my passion.
Yes.
And so I always used to say to our clients, I would say, your business is your greatest rate of return. I can't sell you a financial product that's better than your greatest rate of return. And what's interesting is a lot of times, and that's the truth, a lot of times that business owner doesn't understand how to leverage the opportunity to make that rate of return even stronger because they've gone into their personal cash flow. So what are some of the ways, maybe if you could give one, because there's unique timing to, number one, you speaking at the boot camp, and number two, when we're releasing this burn episode, because I've always done my planning for the next year in October of every year. And some people say, why do you do planning then? Because I always wanted to ignite a fire in getting so excited about 2024 that I'm going to start acting like it's 2024 and 2023 and finishing my 2023 with a 2024 mindset. And so I want all of you, don't wait for 2024 to pass. I don't give plugs on this show very often. Reach out to Kortney. We're going to give you all the ways to get connected with her. Send her an email and say, Kortney, I heard you on the burn and I need your help, because Ben said there's ways to leverage and to make this more simple. It doesn't have to be complex. Is there an example you can maybe give us that speaks to this example I'm sharing?
Sure. So what's great is that you said don't wait until 2024. Right now is our most successful time in this industry because last quarter is when everybody needs their tax deductions. So every business owner knows that you need a tax deduction, and you can write that off on your taxes. It's called Section 179. So if you're a profiting business, your accountant at the end of the year usually says, you need a tax write-off. Let's buy some equipment. Well, you do not have to personally sign for that equipment. or loan if you actually navigate to alternative financing. And it only takes an application. So let's say you do have a couple of credit glitches, or even if you have great credit, we look at the time in business and the asset more than we look at the score. So it only takes an application. If you're a startup business, we can do application only up to 150,000. If you're under, or if you're over 5 years in business, we can do application only to 350,000. That's only an application to start the process to see what you qualify for. Then we can start building the financial package, see what the needs are, and let you know what you can take off the personal credit to stop putting yourself at risk for not being able to refi your mortgage, or maybe you want to buy a vacation rental property. We don't want you to have to be personally indebted for your business. And so there's so many different ways to do it, but it only starts with a quick application and a phone call. And we can go through about 2 hours of processing it takes to let you know exactly where your financial package is and exactly what uh, different types of programs would be available to you. And we can close them as early as 24 to 48 hours if you are an application only client. And so it's pretty easy process. I always say, don't wait. Get familiar with where you are and where you need to go. And we can change the outlook of it in the next couple of months. It doesn't take long to change the outlook. We can help you piece them together.
I love it. I love how you break things down so simply, and you've provided a formula with an amazing entry to access for people to be able to change the narrative, change the story, and change their belief system about how they can leverage their capital to grow their business, to stay locked in on, once again, what I believed. And I was an advisor for a long time, and I still work with some of the highest producing advisors, and it's still the same for their clients. Your business is always your greatest rate of return. So make sure you're educated on how you can access it, leverage it, and drive a higher rate of return. I got to ask you another question. One thing about Spartans tend to have great capacity. Like, they're always wanting to take on more. I could literally reel off names of individuals that I graduated with, former Spartan players I've been connected with. You look at the Matt Ishbias, who we were in school at the same time when Matt Ishbia's there, who talk about capacity. He's now got the #1 mortgage company in the world. He went and bought the Phoenix Suns, and he's the same as us, and we graduated with him. And so it's amazing how much Spartans take on. But one of the things I love is your passion to not only you have such a successful business. You and Chris have been doing this for so long. You don't need to do anything else other than walk into your office and lock in on serving your clients. But you made a decision. I want to empower women in business. You made a decision. I want to empower everyone in business. And writing books, TV appearances, all of the keynote speeches that you're doing. Why did you decide to open up that opportunity when you're already busy enough?
You know, I when I was young, I coached cheerleading. And I absolutely loved, I remember the first speech I ever wrote. It was called "The Best I Can Be, Believing in Me." And I was maybe 16 years old. And I thought always of this time where I helped other people, and the feeling that you get when you're helping other people to the point that they're excited to tears. You know, that feeling that people are just feeling, they feel empowered. And I lost my father at 39 years old. And at his funeral, I realized how many people's lives my father changed. And that's the day that I realized that I can do more. There is more that I can do than sit behind a computer screen and write financial transactions, because I have more capability of teaching and helping people not get into the components that I did trying to build a business when I had ruined my credit and run into undercapitalization. And there's so many entrepreneurs that they will take no and they will run with the no, and they won't keep going towards the yes. And I just want people to know that that no should not define you. That no should get you faster to a yes, because it will create awareness of why. Why did you get the no? And let's learn from it and move forward. And so if I can give a little bit on stage, teaching my clients, help navigate these rocky waters of entrepreneurship, then I'm going to get out there and do the best I possibly can, because I learn from this. It helps my voice keep creating tools to help more entrepreneurs. And that's why I wanted to do more.
As I promised all of you, it's her passion, it's her fire, it's her desire, it's that unwillingness, it's that will to keep pushing forward and to inspire and empower others. Kortney, I've got one final question because you do such a great job of bringing your energy and your passion and highlighting all these areas. There are so many individuals, I say it very often, and it just seems like for many it keeps getting worse. There's so many people that are sitting on that sideline with just this tremendous fear. I just don't want to step into the game. What's the piece of advice that you would have for that individual that has so much fear, so much doubt, and they're just having trouble getting started again?
My advice to them is take a look at your inner circle. And I think the most important thing when you believe in something and believe in yourself is you have to look at the people around you. If they're not pushing you forward, they're not pushing you forward. And so I always say, surround yourself with people who want to believe in you. And if you don't have somebody in your circle, then find an advocate that helps believe in you, because there are people out there. And that's one thing. I love the people in the circles the circles that you've created, Ben, are amazing. And you look at the people, you don't have one person every day that doesn't inspire you. And so you have to always find somebody who inspires you. And that's just from personal experience. So that would be really my reach out to anyone is find the circle that you're looking to, move yourself up to, and find the people who believe in your product or your ambition, and go with those people and that advice. Because again, an opinion is an opinion. It doesn't mean it's right. Find the ones that have the good ones.
I love it. I love it. Kortney, thank you so much for coming on The Burn. We're going to make sure in the call notes we will make it super easy for everybody to learn more about Coastal Capital, to learn more about Kortney, all the amazing things that she's doing as a Spartan in this world. Kortney, is there any other way that you'd like to share that people can stay connected with you?
You can email me directly, or you can always look at KortneyMurray.com. It has access to fill out an application for just 10 minutes of communication on the phone with me, however you want to do it. But you're more than welcome to email me as well. My name is spelled with a K. So it is Kortney, Kortney, at Coastal Capital, and capital is with a K.com. And so please reach out, go to my website, request just a meeting with me or one of the advocates. I would be happy to help anyone who is looking to better their future.
Kortney, thank you so much for your energy, your passion, your transparency, being willingness to share some of the pain of your story, which created The Burn for you to help others. I love how you show up in life. It is such an honor to be able to grow this relationship with you, and also to be able to share the stage in Las Vegas at boot camp. And so just thank you for everything that you do. And it's great when Spartans can stay together and fight to make a difference in the world together.
That's right. I love it, Ben. Thank you so much for having me. I love your podcast. So this is an honor.
Thank you so much, Kortney. And to each and every single one of you listening, we always love bringing you the stories of a burn. Kortney's is a different burn, and it's created an opportunity to help you. And I know I mentioned I don't do that often, but if you're doing your planning, please reach out to Kortney, because this is one of those situations you don't have to live in fear. And maybe it's a friend of yours that you recently had a conversation with who for years had a thriving business who now feels trapped. Share this episode with a friend, a loved one, somebody who's looking for that help, because the help is out there. And there's people who want to do it the right way. It's not a fast sale. It's not, I just want a transaction. It's somebody who wants to partner with you to help you with your next level of growth. And that's what Coastal Capital does, and why I love the opportunity to continue to build a relationship with Kortney and her entire team. So thank you so much for joining us for The Burn. Make sure to share this episode. Make sure to subscribe. Make sure to like, and make sure to stay tuned every single week with us. This has been The Burn.